This is Michael Allen Sears from Sealey's Estate Agents with a quick presentation on the topic of online estate agents versus traditional estate agents. Let's take first of all the online estate agents. The online estate agents uses several means of marketing, such as putting properties onto Rightmove, onto Zoopla, the signboard outside the property. But that's basically it with an online estate agent. If we move over to the traditional estate agent, they employ an awful lot more means of marketing your property for sale. For example, apart from Rightmove, Zoopla and the signboard, they'll go in the local newspapers and they'll be advertising your property week in, week out. They have a shop front where people can see your property and they'll come into the shop, or it might be just browsing the window, but enough to get that introduction to your property. They'll have a database of local people looking, and because they're a local company, they'll be dealing with people that are looking just in the area in which your property is. They'll deal with 100% company viewings, as my company does, so the negotiator will come along to the property with the potential buyers, be showing them around the property, giving them particulars to go away with, finding out a bit more about the potential purchaser on how likely they are, should they offer on your property, to get to exchange of contracts, finding out about whether they have a mortgage in place, etc, etc. Another means that the traditional estate agent will employ is having an existing buy-to-let investors database. And if they cover lettings, they'll have a group of owner landlords that they'll work closely with to increase their portfolio. Tenants and first-time buyers. First-time buyers are fantastic because there's no chain involved, and as an agency we work closely with our tenants to make sure that if they're looking to buy, we find them the property they want. Dedicated sales progressor. That's crucial because everyone thinks, oh, the job's done when your property goes under offer. No, it's not. There's a huge amount of risk in terms of the deal falling through. A dedicated sales progressor will make sure that everyone, the seller included as well as the buyer, are doing everything they should be doing when they should be doing it, so that it cuts down the conveyancing time and cuts down the risk of it falling through as well. Proactive selling. With an online estate agent, you won't have dedicated negotiators ringing the property out, speaking to people day in, day out, and pushing your property out to everyone that's registered on the database. There is no selling involved. It's purely reactive in terms of people phoning up on the back of one of the ads that they employ. There's a lot more to selling than just that. And finally, other websites. My own company has its own website, which is www.sealeys.co.uk. It goes on all of the websites of local newspapers, of Kent Online. There's a whole plethora of websites other than Rightmove and Zoopla. And on the market is a third website for traffic in the UK, and also on that it's an agent's website dedicated to increasing levels of interest in your property. Let's take two examples then. The online agent, Mr and Mrs Smith, decide we're going to go with an online agent, and they've got a £300,000 house. Mr and Mrs Jones have the same £300,000 house, but they're going to go with the traditional estate agent. Let's take Mr and Mrs Smith first of all. They use the online agent Turquoise, who has an upfront cost of £750 plus VAT. Now in the first 4 weeks, they've got limited interest. Why? Because these are the only means they're employing to get interest in the property for sale. And with limited interest in those first 4 weeks, Mr and Mrs Smith decide for a price reduction to £290,000. In the second 4 weeks, there's still limited interest from above because that's the only means they're employing to get interest in the property. Mr and Mrs Smith decide to switch to another online agent, and the upfront cost of that is a further £900 plus VAT. Now that they will switch, providing of course they're able to. Some online agents tie you into a longer contract than just 8 weeks, but let's assume they can get out of their contract. There's still limited interest because it's an online agent, and remember, those are the only means that they're using to get the house sold. So still limited interest from limited marketing above. Price is now reduced to £280,000. And eventually an offer is received of £275,000, which Mr and Mrs Smith reluctantly accept. There's no dedicated sales progressor, remember, so there's a higher risk of fall through. But let's assume Mr. and Mrs. Smith are lucky, they've got it through to completion. The net proceeds of taking all of those costs off to Mr. and Mrs. Smith from their £300,000 house is £273,080. Let's move over to Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Same £300,000 house, remember? They use a traditional agent, for example, Seeley's. And in the first 4 weeks, there's a good amount of interest from all of the above means. All of these methods of marketing the property are being engaged with. Inquiries are slowly feeding through from some areas, quicker from others, but it's a constant amount of interest. So there's no need to reduce the price. Let's assume they don't sell in the first 4 weeks, same as Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but in the second 4 weeks, there's still good continual level of interest from the viewings due to employing all of the above means constantly. And eventually, an offer is received of £290,000, which Mr. and Mrs. Jones accept. So with a dedicated sales progressor, remember, on the traditional agent, it reaches exchange of contracts because there's less risk. That timescale is being cut down because that progressor is progressing that sale. And with a 1% fee for the for the traditional agent, the net proceeds to Mr. and Mrs. Jones are £286,520. That's £286,000 as opposed to £273,000. And in conclusion, there's 2 things to say. First and foremost, don't let anybody ever tell you that an online agent is a cheaper option. And secondly, the moral of the story is this: it pays to keep up with the Joneses. Thank you.